What's up, motherfuckers? We are in the 10th round of the match between Gary Kasparov and Viciant, and Kasparov only needs one more victory in the last three rounds to win the match. So let's see in this game he he take it. One second, I should say it's the round 10. Okay, okay, let's start with the game. Gary Kasparov opens with b3, like Anand in the previous game. I analyzed that the initial position in a previous video, and I I say that the move b3 was fine to start. b6 was fine too, and here Kasparov made the same mistake that Anand playing f4. I not understand this move. I still with it. I still without understand this move. You are not stopping e5 because the queen stops e5. So the correct plan here was play with c4, and knight c3, e3, and break with d4 and knight g3. That's the white's plan. Before have no f4 have no sense here. Just open your king. I don't understand this one. Okay, but Alan in the second game he finally find the correct plan for black and for white to respond to f4 with who is d5, taking the space in the center. In the previous game, Alan opened with f4 and Kasparov respond with f6, another bad move. But Alan that time he finally understand the position and plays d5, taking the control of the center, defending c4, defending e4, and then now he's going to play with c5 to take more space into the center. Knight f2, c5, and just in three moves, here black is better. Just have take the initiative, taking all the space into the center. That's what I like freestyle chess. Well, sometimes with in two moves or three, if your opponent don't understand well the position and you understand well, you could be better with black in two moves. That's great. So no, black simply is better. Just take the half of the space in the center and he plays well the pieces like we analyzed in the first video of this day, e3. And here I'm playing IC6, who is completely good, but he has the idea of d5, interesting too. If bishop b2 knight g6, and if he takes d4, breaking the center, but especially closing the a1 queen. The a1 queen is going to take a big part in this video and in general in this day of this match because sometimes this queen is going to have many problems to be developed and can be the case of who player have the advantage. If you have the queen active or not. It's going to be so important to active the A1 queen. He takes d4, bishop d7, bishop b2, and take here. And okay, why have a pawn but let's see the queen only one is completely trapped and the A8 queen is completely free. So that's the huge difference because why black is better here. For example, bishop d3, knight g6 was fine, but knight queen d5 or queen d5 was the other possibility. But okay, the move says by Anna was good, knight c6, bishop b2, knight g6. Alan is placing perfectly the pieces, and after knight c3, now Alan came with a strong move, taking the center and closing the black pieces with d4, attacking the knight. And Kasparov should go back, and now Alan makes another good move, e5, trying to control the center and sorry, and open the a7 bishop to be developed and it's all castle. And after f takes, Alan here start to play bad. Here he missed a great idea with bishop b7. Just giving up a pawn and just developing everything. And after it takes d4, now I have two pawns up, just short castle. Now I have his piece is perfectly, his both knights well, his castle, the rook in the center, the bishop developed, the queen is more or less open, this bishop have their own diagonal. Okay, so black needs more tempo to end his development, like rook e8, maybe bishop, I don't know, bishop f5, 94, something like that. But black is the player who have the initiative here. Let's see the white pieces. The queen is trapped here, the bishop is blocked by his pawn here. The both knight are in second rank. His bishop is undeveloped, the rook is undeveloped, the king is in the center. So that's why I really like the black position. Long castle can be option, but just black takes here. Mm, For example, g3, trying to develop the pieces, bishop f5, g4, bishops, but black have distracted bishop c2, d3, rook d3, and of course you cannot take here because knight b4 with checkmate, well, not checkmate, but you should go here and you need to take your queen. And if you even go to c3, you're going to receive checkmate with rook c8. But if you go to d4, then knight c2, it's clear that black is winning here. d5 was a good move here, giving up the pawn to avoid that black recaptures on d5 on d4, sorry, blocking your bishop. So that's good, followed by castle here. Or rook fd8 or rook dd8, there are a full point of advantage for black, according to the team. So that's the until here Aram was playing great, and bishop b7 was the strongest move here. Queen b8 was another possibility, but okay, bishop b7 was the better. But Aram plays knight b4, very strange move because 3 moves later he returns to c6. So this move have no sense. Okay, castle must move. The takes here was slightly better bishop b7 because you prefer that white have the knight on f2 than on d1 because okay, let's analyze this one. Bishop e7, rook take, bishop takes a3. Here you can play knight d5 attacking e3. What happened in the game? Anna takes on d1 and bishop e7, and after a3 the move knight d5 doesn't attack the pawn on e3. So it's like a extra tempo for white. Here the last opportunity for black to steal with initiative was queen e4. Queen e4 attacking on c2, queen b1, bishop b7, and knight g3, queen b7, bishop b5, knight c6, c4. There is not so much, but that's the better way to play with black to improve a little bit the queen from a8 to b4, and then if the opponent yet you go to b7, which is slightly better, greater than a6. By the way, bishop a7, the problem is just after a6, the knight should go back, and after all, black is going to have a pawn down after take on e5. Okay, here Gary plays knight f4. Knight d3 was slightly better, and after castle knight f4 here. Because black here cannot take because d takes, and this is a better structure improvement in greater than the other position. So that's why g3 was slightly better, but okay, knight f4 was good. Knight takes, and knight f4 is a great way to defend the e5 pawn. Takes, castle. e6 was possible, trying the e6 pawn for the e7 pawn, but then black takes on f4. And okay, you open the black king, but it's not totally clear. But what's so interesting, giving up the pawn, give up the pawn to open the black king was an interesting plan for bishop d3. But okay, here Kasparov chose a more solid plan, bishop d3, placing well the pin, knight d3. Here the plan a5 a4 by Anna was good, a5, and a6 move, for example, bishop e4, a4. Rook d1, trade, and bishop e6, attacking this point. That's the that's the idea of 5-5-5-4. Take on this b3 and then play bishop e6 to attack the pawn. Okay, Aram plays knight d4, who looks logical. Bishop takes, pawn takes knight d4. Let's see that white have a pawn up, but the huge problem of the white position was the queen, who is also misplaced on e1. If maybe this queen was on e2 or on d2, this, the game could be winning. But the queen on e1 gives black some opportunities to fight. And apart the bishop pair, of course, was always a small advantage. Queen c6, improving the queen, king b2. Of course, the idea is open the third rank for the queen to escape, to move. Here makes a straight move, b5. The idea of b5 was clear, yeah. Attack your opponent's knight. He cannot go, for example, to e2 because queen c3 taking the knight. So white should go to d6, and the other plan was just take the pawn. What happens? Okay, you take back the pawn, you can think that you are equal, but not. What's after? Great move of Kasparov, queen e1. Now black is simply most active, and the b5 pawn is weak, the d4 pawn is weak, and the queen is entering in e7, the queen is entering on e5 too. Great move by Kasparov here, preferring the activity rather than take pawns. For a reason he plays king b2, of course he was b5 and knight d6, but he preferred to give back the pawn and play active. Here he has the opportunity of take here, but there's not the best way. It was better to play active. And after bishop here, instead of with black, we should play like the same like white. Instead of take simply pawns, was better to play active with bishop f5. Okay, queen e1, great move, and I decide to take the pawn and queen e7. Now let's see that 3 moves ago, white have a pawn up and now black have a pawn up. But the advantage of white have increased in the last 3 moves. Incredible, giving up support, but just activating this queen. Let's analyze the queen. 2 moves ago was on a1, and now in 2 moves, that 2 move was on e7. That's a huge improvement. And apart, the queen is the most powerful piece in the board. You should have the queen active. It's the most important piece to be active. Queen d6. Okay, and here with white you can trade queens with rook e1 or queen takes and take e5, but I like queen e7. In my opinion, was the best move to take queens here. Okay, here the commentators are analyzing, for example, queen e2 during the game, and here, for example, rook f1, queen b6, or queen b6, queen d4 DLD was so strong for white. Okay, and I decide to develop the pieces. Well, good idea. Rook e1 played by Kasparov. Rook f1 was slightly better. The target of his position was the f7 pawn, not entering on e7. Rook e1, this was possible, but okay, g6 I prefer, more solid. g3 defending the pawn, king e7. And here Kasparov made one mistake after having played so good for the last move. He was looking for avoiding Aran to make enter in a line who is equal. Here was better before just fixing the b5 pawn on light squares, taking the c5 square and just taking special advantage and open no way for his king. The problem of rook e4 and apart after before is not clear was the black's next move. But after rook e4 the problem is that black here have bishop f5, sending the rook and then the bishop, so rook e7 was the only move. Queen f6, and here you cannot take on f5 because of d3 discover attack and white is in some trouble. So for a reason bishop f5 could equal the game. Just trading the bishop, which is one of the most principal advantage of white, that the b5 pawn is in light square, but the bishop is offensive side. So for a reason of the bishop f5 the game could be so equal. But Alan missed that and plays bishop c6. Rook f4 was possible too, rook e7. And here, okay, Alan should go back to d7 with the bishop. Instead of that, he trade rooks, entering a completely lost position. After rook take queen b7, we move, attacking b5. He defend, attacking the queen b6, pinning the bishop, again attacking b5, queen d5, and here remove b4. Sorry, remove b4. Surrendering queen c5, entering the bishop endgame, and the problem of the bishop endgame is that the king is coming so fast with king b3, king b4, bishop b5. The idea is not only trade queens, but the other idea was just change the pawn structure to enter with the king. Okay, and I'm playing h5. So I'm gonna play h5. That's not a great move. Queen c5, queen c7, h4, another great move. Blockading the black pawns. f6, and now the final breakthrough. a4, great move. Open the big pawn to push and but okay, b5 here of course was winning. But Kasparov make a better move with king e3. proving his king, stopping the pawn and closing line, and placing this king completely safe. F5 and finally B5, B6, Queen E5, and Queen E7 and here Anna resigns. I like the game of Gary. Okay, in the opening, Anna outplayed him completely until here. Anna was playing perfectly and Kasparov so bad. But after that, Anna doesn't play Bishop B7 and followed by Castle, who was the option. Here, Kasparov started to play so good, so good, and he only made one mistake, who is rookie forward, giving his opponent in one opportunity to draw the game. But he plays also well. Yeah, my favorite move was King B2, open the queen and avoiding your opponent to, no, sorry, giving your opponent the opportunity to give to take your one pawn and here giving another pawn, giving the advantage pawn and an extra pawn to activate the queen. So great plan of white here. And deserve victory to Kasparov, who 1 second. Kasparov after the victory he had 4 victories against 0 finals. So after that he won a match. He won the match with 2 rounds of separ at the after before the end. So congratulations to Kasparov of winning against Luciana. I'm so happy because okay, I know I like Aaron, of course, he's one of the greatest players, but I am a huge Kasparov fan and it was great to see him playing not in his best level, but winning a match who always against a world champion younger than him. He's not Aaron is not an active player, but Aaron retires like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and Kasparov retires more than 10 years ago. So it was great to beat a player who retired later than you. So yes, only congratulate Kasparov of win this match. He saw a great level, playing some interesting games. Only left 2 games to end the match, to this game. Okay, the match is decided, but I want to see how the last 2 games end. So I'm going to analyze in the channel. So let's see the next videos. Bye bye.